Okay, I'm not going to go into details. It's not up to me to go into details, but I just seen a video that is an epic ass kicking. I mean, wow, what a crunch. Again, thank you for the views, though. It was about 36 views last time I looked, maybe more now, of the last video. If you made it all the way through the video, you're a freaking soldier. Um, Sorry about the length of it, but it's to make that point. I think he starts with every community that he's come across in that way, and he is so dysfunctional. And this is what happens. So I made more focus on doing. I wanted to do something like this for a while, step by step. The history of where it started from Jason, and then how even increasingly outlandish his crap was, and he spins off his own. You create a bullshit platform, then spin off that as well. Um, Amazing twisting everything around. I mean, it's kind of creative. He could be a fiction writer if he was able to channel the energy properly and be consistent. But even then, it wouldn't be, would it? It wouldn't be a book of fiction. It would be a book of garbage, right? Random, convoluted, contradicting nonsense. Even a flat earther has within their own arena or their own bubble, separate from the real world, some consistency with their own thing, in its own thing. It's not self-contradictory, but it is completely contradictory to what is observable out in the real world. But then you get another flat earther who contradicts another flat earther's model, right? So that it's all bullshit. Right? But Jason can't even do that. He's worse than that. He doesn't know how to practice critical, analytical consistency. And I think, I've been saying that a couple of times now. I do think human nature is emotional first and then critical thinking second. We tend to think that we're critical thinkers, in human nature. Like most people, I think they're logical and critical thinkers something like 70% of the time, and 30% of the time emotional. It's actually the opposite. But we all get that emotional reaction and then kick in with logical thinking afterwards, I think. And most people need to kind of recognize that when you use it, it's like using a muscle, right? You get better at it when, and even more so, I think, knowing that it's important to use, practicing. But there's no practice from that. From Jason's standpoint, he just wants the drama for views. So with exploratoryminds.com, I like to say, the bulk of the work for the website is done. Like, is has been for a long time, but there's been other things, additional bits that for bells and whistles I want to expand on, and they're in place as well. Thank you very much for recent members. Louise Colley, I think that was somebody coming off my Twitter feed. There was Louise Colley on Twitter as well by the same avatar. Creepy avatar, by the way. And a few other recent ones. I'm not sure if Louise is associated immediately with the community. There's so many people. I like the community that I was referring to in my previous video. And again, thank you for the views and thank you for the patience of watching. The next videos following up will be shorter, I promise you that. Um, so moving onward now that I decide, I've got more time now to focus on some things. Work rings me up and says, you might be back in work next week because we've had lockdown and we're doing well with vaccinations. Something like 20 million now. I've had the first shot. I think it might be 2 million. Getting the second shot. Obviously, it's about 2 million per week. It's about 2 million per week. 2 million plus something. So obviously the second one, people who have been second dose that are being on the increase now as well. So I reckon by like their target for June in the UK is all kind of like back to taking the restrictions away. But still, my job is non-essential, so I haven't been working since the big lockdown before Christmas. So it's given me time to focus actually on exploratory mines and a number of other things. But now I keep hearing different things in news feeds I've signed up to. I think, wow, I would really like to write about that, but I was busy with the site and busy with personal things in my own life as well. So I think, yeah, we get back on track, and then how Jason is, he doesn't clean up after him. For a long time, I wanted to do something properly, exposing this asshole. And again, I just seen a video that, yeah, what an ass kicking that is. It's phenomenal. He has become such a fuck up. He is that easy to predict. And again, it's still, to some degree, it's part of me is not surprised, but a larger part of me still thinks, what the fuck? Cheshire's parody on his idiocy, and he cherry picks bits out the parody and responds to it as if it's not a parody, as if it's actually real. He doesn't. Wow. Unbelievable. It's just cuckoo. So again, going back to the news feeds, I'm jumping around a bit. Yeah, I got Unirock syndrome, slightly, but don't worry, I'll nip it in the bud. I won't let this disease get everywhere. You fuck up. Going back to the news feeds and things that I sign up to, I hear things like, there was one like Fireball goes across the UK skies at 20 to 6 or something or other. On the, I think it was 5th of March. It's now the 10th. So I looked that up. That's interesting. And it wasn't really a fireball, but there was a chain of bright dots across the sky, all close together. And eventually, because I know what those are now, those dots will spread out and seemingly be not really that noticeable. What they were is the Starlink satellites being deployed in low Earth orbit. And for those who don't know what Starlink is, SpaceX. Well, it's kind of a project of SpaceX. The Starlink. Elon Musk wants to give the world a global internet. Conspiracy nuts jump on that one. 5G is going to kill everyone and all this. In the UK, 5G we've kind of using that technology, but not prolifically. But there's some collaboration from elsewhere as well as in the UK to work on a 6th generation. All these networks are on the electromagnetic spectrum. It just the microwave to radio wave spectrum, right, or radio to microwave. Visual light is far more energetic and to that. So these nutty conspiracy people, they think 5G is dangerous, then visual light should kill us. We don't have to be like vampires, come out at night. um, so speaking of light as well, it's another news feed I saw. Like MIT have created the perfect mirror, and I posted a little bit about this. And to me, my understanding in physics is that there should be some energy loss but light bounces off something. It's like your normal mirror. It's not perfect. When you look in a mirror, I got a mirror here, right, on the wall. See a reflection of the curtain in there, and that green, if you can't see it right, is stickers I put on my walls. It's like leaves. I'm gonna get some more. It's nice decoration. I like it. So if that was like a perfect mirror, reflecting every spectrum, every colour equally and perfectly, my brain might go, huh, there's a hole in the wall, but what's in there is the same as what this room is. You know, of course, logic would have to kick in and say, this is some kind of perfect mirror. And they found on the red spectrum, especially, that they have a photon and they can bounce it off one service and bounce it back off another service. These two services, and these are edited and designed, manufactured mirrors. So at the atomic scale, they was able to do something to create this material that bounce these photons around perfectly. And I was reading that, I thought, wow, this, if that's true, and it's not, a photon is not losing energy at all, this has got massive implications for how this can be applied to technology here and there. So, and they said this is a breakthrough. You know, it really would be considered a breakthrough, but conventional physics should dictate that you'd lose some energy on a photon. You can't bounce things perfectly between things without losing something. I would have thought you lose some energy here and there. But on the, like, photons apparently they're not particles, right? It's a frequency, it's a wavelength, right? But if you was to measure it, you know, the distance across, in terms of particle, you know, they say it's both in some ways of physics and all that, but I'm not going there with a double slit experiment. That's confusing. So if you were to measure the distance across a photon, then it's probably like a Planck's distance. A Planck's distance is the smallest distance measurable. Apply that then with one photon, a presence of one, and next to it there isn't one, and next to that there's one, and then there's another one, and another one. Then there isn't one, then there isn't one. Where I'm going with this is binary digits, zeros and ones, but presence of light and lack of presence, but individual photons. That's what I was thinking when I was read this, but they didn't elaborate too much, but they said things like, this has got implications for major breakthroughs in technology and technological application here and there. They was kind of wording it like that. What are heat as well? If you got a system that's with this material, perfect mirror, just keep adding the right wavelength of photons in there. Just keep adding more and more. Does it get hotter? Are you generating heat just with light? Are you cooking? This would be more energy efficient than a microwave oven, right? Probably. And again, there's conspiracy nuts go, see, microwaves, they cook things. And you said about mobile phones with microwave to radio. A microwave on that this receives is like 1 watt or something, or 2 watts. So the microwave is cramming several microwaves, thousands, millions of microwaves in a small space at 800 watts, let alone, But what if you're doing it with light, with a perfect mirror service, this design thing? Of course, it would have to be something very different in it, like some kind of chip that would store information. If this material can be adapted that way, as we think of microchips or computer chips, memory. But this means you don't electrically store this either, not necessarily. You might need electronics to create the light, I guess, or maybe, I don't know, I'm just trying to think, yeah. I mean, we already have optical storage anyway, don't we? We have, like, compact disc, and a laser reads a compact disc, and it's, and what bounces back is interpreted, your noughts and ones, right? But the light itself, in this case, could be, if you can store a photon between two perfect mirror images infinitely, you got a binary digit. Yeah, it got me thinking, and I need to follow up that information a bit more, and if there's anything theoretical on that, it'd be worth writing about, adding an article to Exploratory Minds blog, the main blog, which will have my users' blogs on, and we've already got some of those if we think that their article is consistent enough with itself and backs itself up and doesn't contradict itself, unlike some vaping weirdo that just spews garbage all the time, does a complete flip on what he spews and contradicts and tries to defame people, smear campaign people, hate on people. Maybe he's butthurt that he had a GoFundMe once. I'm paraphrasing, can't quite remember what it said, but it said something like exposing haters online made a massive $10. Yeah, and became he didn't even bank that, I think, because if I understand it, once you the GoFundMe closes, doesn't it? I don't know. But regardless, were you butthurt for that as well, Jason? Is that why you're so bitching that you what the fuck goes on in that head? And she just, what would it be like to be inside Jason's head? A fucking nightmare, right? Through no fault of other people, it's all on him. I've said in a previous video, it's you, Jason. Not other people. You are the problem. You're your own problem, because you can't start off with bullshit and then you later believe you're bullshit because you're a narcissistic piece of shit. Oh, I don't make mistakes and nothing wrong with me. Therefore, if you don't correct your mistakes, they build up over time, over the years. I think that's why he's getting so outlandish, actually, because this is like, it's building and building all this shit he doesn't keep in check. Wow. He does have knee-jerk responses as you saw in the previous video, to the word being corrected. We'll correct some things. I don't get it. It's just like somebody tells you got something wrong. Oh, okay. So what? Doesn't mean if somebody tells you got a mistake, doesn't mean you're always making a mistake. But if you don't address the mistake and you think it's convince yourself, delude yourself, it's not a mistake. You see where I'm going with this, and you keep doing that, then everything you do will be a mistake. Your delusions that you're good at everything. If you're deluded enough to think you're really good at everything, in some kind of fantasy desire to convince yourself you're good at everything, you end up being no good at anything at all. That's what's going on, shithead. Really? I mean, fuck's sake, Jason. Thank you for watching, everyone else, and as always, fuck you, Jason. Peace out. Bye.